It is the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network. And what a show we have planned for you today. Scotty Swingler's he's rolling today. He's excited. We've got the big Green and Gold Game Day preview show coming up. We'll have all kind of features there. We got Robin Big Cat Jones, one of the heroes from some of Grant Taft's teams in the late 80s and early 90s. He's going to run by for the Green and Gold Game Day. And then, Scotty had a great suggestion, and we thought about having this guy run by. But, I also know this man, Scotty, likes to go to La Fiesta before these games. And so perhaps getting him over to where we are in time could have been a bit of a struggle. So what we've decided to do is just have him on the show today. And Phil Bennett, the former Baylor defensive coordinator who went from Baylor to Arizona State. And Scotty, this is where your idea even gets better. Apparently, he is like a huge mentor to the Arizona State defensive coordinator. I believe that guy's name is Brian Ward. And so that's kind of cool. So we have all kinds of connections. He's going to join us at 2. I just sent off a deal, and I know he was on one of our local shows. So then I was kind of like, well, I don't know. But again, this is our show, Scotty. I think we can do anything we want. But I just was texting with Tim Brando, who's on the call of this game. And so, Scotty, I don't know. That'll be too close to game time to get him involved in our pregame show probably. But we may pop Tim on tomorrow and see what Tim's up to do. Scotty, you're a good impression guy. Let me do a Tim Brando call real quick.
Let's hear it.
All right. Okay, let's say Sawyer throws a great one to Cole Wilson. He jukes out some people, but a big touchdown for the Bears. He might say something like, Cole Wilson, how do you do? That's Brando. How do you do? And so, and I have some funny stories on Tim Brando that I will not get into because they're not quite as flattering maybe toward him. But like I do appreciate that he's been doing it for so long. And whether it be CBS, ESPN, Fox, he's got to be in his 70s now. And he's just, and the hair never changes. The hair stays dark. He's got a good look going with that hair. But, I tend to not be as reverent as I need to toward like legends of the game and things like that. So I probably have spent a little too much time, laughing about certain things. But I'll tell you one thing. When Nikki Collin came on last year and like Brando was going to be calling one of their games, one of their women's college basketball games, which is what Nikki does. And like, she was like genuinely excited to have Brando calling her game. And I just thought, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know about a guy like Tim Brando, because like people that have been around for a little bit now, Nikki's younger than I am, so I'm not going to act like she's been around forever because I like to pretend I'm young. But people that know and have monitored college athletics for a long time appreciate certain people. And Nikki's sort of excitement over Tim Brando, I thought was kind of neat. I thought that was kind of cool. So we'll do some, Scotty, we'll do some, we'll do Phil Bennett at 2. And then I did want to, and then we'll get into, in the 2:00 hour also, after we talk to Phil Bennett, which, I talked to, and that was when you were out, Scotty. You probably could have monitored that. The Z-Man gave me too much latitude. I had Gary Patterson on recently for a solid hour. Now, Phil Bennett would go an hour with us, but that feels maybe a little much. So we'll try to keep him in that 20 to 30-minute range. And then we'll try to get into, if the Cowboys post it, we'll try to play a little bit of Matt Eberflus going back to Chicago. Let me get a quick word on our sponsors. Thank you, Central National Bank. Thank you, man. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Brian Fonville, Nesbitt. Look at that. Look at Scotty. Scotty's just Johnny on the spot. Just boom. Just that thing flashes up there. Central National Bank, tremendous, a different kind of bank. And honestly, just a bunch of cool guys over there. We love it, and women. We love their commercials. They're just, and we're going to do some stuff. In fact, I'm trying to, Scotty, I don't think it would be a bad move to, I know you were trying to get me to shotgun a beer. You thought that would help our numbers. I'm thinking, would it help or hurt CNB to feature me in a commercial? I'm volunteering. I'm volunteering to show off some of my acting skills and to be there on set and to do a commercial for CNB.
We'll run that ad here in a little bit with Coach Collin. They've got those excellent, funny advertisements with Nikki Collin. Matt, I think you could give Nikki Collin some acting tips. She does a good job in those commercials, but I think her performance could be a little more improved. I think you could maybe step in either as a co-star or an acting coach for Coach Collin.
I thought, and again, if I tried to start giving her a few tips, she would laugh in my face, as she should. But Scotty, I think Peggy's the star of those commercials, like where she's like, acting, asking if she should report a charge or whatever. I mean, the whole setup was very clever, thoughtful. I thought good directing, good writing. I thought Joe Nesbitt was excellent off the top. But and just to pull back the curtain a little bit for you, the star of that commercial, who was really good, to me, honestly, it looks like she could do movies. Peggy's timing is like very, very good, is a longtime employee of Central National Bank. And she retired in the last couple of years, but they brought her back to do a commercial, and she was on point. She was on point. So I like that. We may have some Matt Eberflus, and I did just see Matt Eberflus's comments about returning to Chicago. Now, by the way, Cherry Johnson, Sigmund and James, that incredible law firm. Love you guys. Incredible. This is the new thing, by the way, Scotty. If I ever slip and say, hey, I love you, don't get weirded out by it, because what I'm noticing my college daughter is doing with all her friends on campus, and I don't know if this is happening on the Baylor campus as well, but these girls that she's just become friends with in recent weeks, right? These are not long-held friendships. When I hear her sign off with a friend, she's like, oh, my dad's on the phone, I got to go, she'll say, love you. And I'm just like, wow, first of all, I guess guys don't do that really. Although, Scotty, you're a guy that, to me, you're a guy that doesn't mind showing a little emotion. You probably say I love you to some of your close buddies when you say goodbye. Is that right? That seems like something you might do.
All of my buddies say love you before we leave. Yep.
Like if my buddy says it, we would start laughing, and it would be like an accidental thing.
Well, but see, we've learned in the millennial generation, Matt, that just because you're a man doesn't mean you have to pretend to hate everybody or be a turd all of the time. My friends and I are turds to each other most of the time.
Okay.
But we do always, when we see each other or when we're leaving, it's a hug, it's a love you, bro, or love you, man. That's very customary. In fact, I'll tell you, Pete Souza walked out today. I said, love you, bro.
True story. I don't know. I mean, I would be okay. I guess I would be okay with that. I just, what did Pete say back? Did he say, hey, see ya? Or did he return the love?
He usually tells me, I don't remember what he said today. He has said love you back to me before, but he usually says, you're my guy. That's usually how Pete expresses his care for me.
Yeah.
So, you're my guy.
I would be way more comfortable with that, but that's okay. I don't know. And by the way, when I'm whatever you were describing, And I am, for the most part, I think most people that encounter me, they would come away with a good experience, and I'm fairly nice to folks. I can get pretty confrontational if something goes the wrong direction with something, with a friendship or whatever. But yeah, when I'm like that, Scotty, I'm not pretending. I'm just like that. There's no when I'm not. It's not really an act. I could just be like that at times. But for the most part, I think. And by the way, the set, like the feel good on the set, like at the Green and Gold game day. Now that's a genuine feel good set of people who like each other and are excited about who's coming on and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be good. Saturday, starting at 3:30 so just search on YouTube Green and Gold Game Day. I think if you search for Green and Gold Game Day or Baylor pregame, but probably get Green and Gold Game Day is your best way to find us on a search. And then check us out. I think you'll enjoy it. And then today, again, we've got big time Phil Bennett, and we got a lot to share with you. Now, breaking today is the fact that Matt Eberflus is being asked about returning to Chicago. Now, the Chicago Bears, where he flamed out and where it did not end well. And the only thing, and we'll play some of this because they asked Eberflus what he learned from his time in Chicago. Now, I find this one interesting. Scotty, you're a purveyor of, you like to read into things and read between the lines, and you're what we call a sports investigator. He said what he learned from his time in Chicago. A lot of things. The biggest thing is that you got to be able to communicate well and do a good job there with everybody that's working. Okay, that's a vague, weird, there's something to that. That was a shot at management, the GM, the ownership, something. That's not just I got to communicate well. He's trying to take a poke without taking a poke. And when I had a chance to sit down with him on a one-on-one, well, kind of a two-on-one because I had Ed Werder with me, there was something that we kind of asked him directly about all that stuff that came up with he and Caleb Williams and not, leaving him alone to look at film and boy, he did not like that. It's not like he didn't like our question. He understood our question. He fired back that's a huge part of what they do is coach-led film watching sessions. It's an enormous part of what they do. And I think his message was, they came at me and that was an unfair. That was an unfair poke. You want to come at me for losing games, that's great. But to act like we dropped the ball and didn't try to help Caleb Williams. And let me tell you something that I believe about what he said in that respect. Scotty, I think Caleb Williams, and he may turn the corner, and who knows, maybe he'll end up being a great NFL quarterback. Now, Scotty's someone that he takes firm stances on quarterbacks. He loves them, hates them. He's rarely in the middle. He always has an opinion on the quarterback. He turned on Kansas State's Avery Johnson fairly early. And honestly, he's looking pretty good on that opinion. Scotty, in a second, I'll ask you where you are on Caleb Williams. Here's where I am on Caleb Williams. He's got problems. He's got some Shador issues because he's got daddy in the ear. Daddy's hanging around trying to run a lot of stuff in his life, and daddy's in the ear big time. Now, this guy has so much more talent than Avery Johnson or almost anybody I could name from the Big 12. Now, hopefully, whether it be Sawyer or Levitt or whoever, hopefully one of those guys breaks through, maybe even Devin Dampier from Utah. Hopefully one of those guys breaks through and has a really nice NFL career. Caleb Williams has more talent in the palm of his little hand. When he puts his hand just like that, he's got more talent like that than any of those quarterbacks I just mentioned. But he's got a problem. He's got too much in his ear. He's got too many people telling him the coaches are stupid. And, fortunately, think if Sawyer had been wired like that. What would they have told Sawyer? Get the heck out of Baylor. Leave. They picked DeQuan Finn over you. Get out of town. Or even the year before, hey, they're not taking care of you. They're doing this, or they're running you too much, or this or that. He could have had somebody in his ear, and thank goodness he's made us some old school stuff. He's made us some stuff that says, you know what, I'm going to hang right in here, and I'm going to keep plugging away. And so Baylor's very fortunate to have that in Sawyer Robertson. And you go, well, Matt, didn't he transfer from Mississippi State? Yeah, he did. And I'll remind you that the guy he went to play for sadly died, in Mike Leach. So that's not a situation of him, well, let's just give up on everybody here. No. His entire situation changed out there at Mississippi State. So, we've got a lot in store. Scotty, as Matt Eberflus makes his return, I'm sorry, Scotty. I was trying to, in my mind, right as I was coming to you, I was like, I think Scotty told me he had to be off camera for a few moments. And of course, that's exactly when I would come to you. But on Caleb Williams, like right now, for instance, the guy with the Anthony Richardson with the Colts, things look really bad for him. So Caleb's not there. The guy from the guy that was the old quarterback, Bryce Young, the quarterback at Carolina right now, we're kind of like real iffy on him, right? There are these quarterbacks that are teetering on the edge. Caleb's not teetering yet because they have too much invested, and this whole hire they made was to try to figure this kid out. He's got way too much talent to give up on this. But man, are you with me? Or do you sense that this could be a colossal waste of talent, and it may be trending in that direction? Or do you still feel like Caleb Williams, there's a potential somewhere locked within him is a top 10 NFL quarterback?
No, I don't think so. You mentioned I've got a track record here of following quarterbacks. I don't think I'm any kind of expert quarterback evaluator, but I am right more than I'm wrong. And one of my biggest philosophies is if you can't win in college, or if you didn't show the ability to make good decisions in college, I don't think you're suddenly going to do it in the NFL. I have been wrong. Notably, I was wrong about Patrick Mahomes. I thought that dude couldn't win more than 6 games a year at Texas Tech. How is he going to win in the NFL? I was wrong. Turns out, Cliff Kingsbury can't win more than 6 games at Texas Tech. That wasn't Patrick Mahomes' fault. But with Caleb, I distinctly remember November 13th, 2021, my opportunity to see Caleb play in person at Baylor. Matt, do you remember what happened in the back end of that game? Caleb Williams got benched.
Yeah.
He got benched. They trotted Spencer Rattler, who was halfway out the door at that point, to South Carolina. They trotted him out there to finish that football game because Caleb Williams was so ineffective against the 2021 Baylor defense. He was 9 for 18 for, I believe, 140 some odd yards. He had 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. So when people were asking me going into that draft, is Caleb Williams going to be good in the NFL? I say, no. I saw him play a B+, A- Baylor defense, granted as a freshman, but he couldn't move the football. The dude has not proven an ability to throw the football accurately and on time. And even I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago after week 1. I think his miss rate, like ball not on target on any throw, was like 46% in week 1. The ball just wasn't on target, wasn't where it was catchable. You can't last the NFL doing that. So I think when we say he's wildly talented, I think suddenly it's trendy to be like Patrick Mahomes. It's trendy to play off script. It's trendy to be running around and reversing field and trying to throw behind your back or no look or can you run right like Cam Ward did the other day? It was crazy. Can you run right and throw it 50 yards across the field to the left and complete a pass? And that's not quarterback talent to me. Quarterback talent is, can you stand in and deliver the football where it's supposed to be? Because whether you're mobile or a statue, the greats can do that. Mahomes can do that. Aaron Rodgers can do that. Peyton Manning could do that. Tom Brady could do that. At his best, Lamar Jackson and Robert Griffin, they're mobile guys, but they can stand in and put the ball where it's supposed to be. I have never seen Caleb Williams be able to do that, ever. So, no, I don't think he's very good. I don't think he'll be starting in 3 years. You're right. He's not Anthony Richardson. He's not Jamarcus Russell. He's not Deshaun Kaiser. But I only think he's about a step above that. I think he's about a step above that. Now,
your brain goes to weird places. Deshaun Kaiser.
Well, I'm just like
the former Notre Dame. Where was he?
Yes. But I'm just like, he's not that bad, but he's not good. He's not good. I mean, compare him to his peers. Look at what Bo Nix is doing. Look at what Jaden Daniels is doing.
He's not as good right now as even Josh Fields, right? He's behind him, and Fields does not appear to be a long-time answer.
He's bad.
As a quarterback.
He's bad.
Do I think he has more upside, more of a higher ceiling than Fields or some of the guys we just mentioned? I mean, I think Bo Nix is accurate enough and can move well enough, and even May, that even their ceilings are probably higher than Caleb's. The thing that you said was really kind of interesting that you hit on is we have probably overvalued. There was a run on quarterbacks, and it even goes back to Aaron Rodgers because he can throw off schedule and can make. And so what we did is we try to compare people to these sort of generational talents. Okay.
Right.
Mahomes is a generational talent.
Yes.
As beaten down as he might, he didn't look like it Sunday, but as beaten down as Russell Wilson might be, there were things he did for about a 5 to 7 year stretch where he was unreal.
Yes.
And he was incredible to stop. And I think in the end, the only people who stopped him was this disagreement over whether that should be a running team or a passing team. And so his time kind of came to an abrupt halt, with the Seahawks. But he proved last Sunday he can still do it. But yeah, we overvalued this. Hey, can he move? Can he go off schedule? Whether and there's some quarterbacks now that are coming up. Now we still do it from time to time. Here's the deal. Let me tell you why, in some respects, John Mateer is going to the top of the Heisman odds. It's not just because he plays for OU. And again, they may look great against Auburn, and his stock may even go higher. First of all, he's got great measurables. He moves, but it's what we're talking about. He also goes off script. And if you watch him enough, some of that's what gets him in trouble. That he does some scary off script stuff, but boy, people, the ability to do that, people go crazy over, and probably have overvalued that. Now, I mean, Scotty, do we have time to get to the Sawyer real quick? Let's do that. I want to. I've been, and we'll do some Campus Confidential coming up, and then we've got the great Phil Bennett going to show up at 2:00. So we got to be on top of that. I want to hear a little back and forth session that we had when I asked Dave Aranda after the game the other night about Sawyer. His answer, I think, scared some people. I think Sawyer's going to be fine, but this was a extremely honest, genuine answer from Dave, and it was a little bit scary. Let's listen to the back and forth, and then we'll react a little bit.
Dave, what did you see from Sawyer? Seemed like some uncharacteristic throws. Was that him just being careless? Was there any routes run the wrong way? What did you see?
I think he was feeling the pressure of just stuff not working. I think he was feeling kind of the fog of not everyone focused in and not everybody given the type of effort that's demanded. And I think he's trying to make plays. He's trying to make something out of nothing at times. I think there wasn't a bunch of separation with releases. I think there wasn't, great pockets with protection. And some of the Sawyer that we saw today was maybe the Sawyer from 2 years ago or further back. And so we've got to get the Sawyer that we got now. We got to get him back to his self as whether it's last year or the beginning of this year. That was not what was happening today.
Dave, you mentioned the bear coat. Who came
All
up
right,
with that?
all right. That's enough. All right, the bear coat, Scotty. Have we actually ever seen the bear coat? We need to get a look at that. And did you see that product placement they're doing? That's the first I've seen them do that with Dave. Maybe they've been doing that, but I guess you can pay and have somebody put a little to-go bag or whatever that was. I think if I'm going to put something up in front of the Baylor head coach, I'd make it a little more prominent because at least to my eyes, I couldn't even really read that. But yes, people are doing some product placement, and as you can see on the screen, we do that here on the Mosley Show. Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James have gotten involved in that, and so we love having them. Love our relationship with Ascension Providence as well, and our presenting sponsor, Central National Bank. Now, Scotty, that was really interesting to hear Dave in that moment. And for context, he came out Monday and said of Sawyer, when he was asked about Sawyer again, is like, basically, I would bet on him. I would bet on Sawyer bouncing back. So this is not a coach who's like, oh, I don't know, I've lost my quarterback or anything like that. But that's scary and I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, you just pray it doesn't happen against Arizona State because that's a big time night game. Going to be a great crowd. I guess they're busting out the anthracites again. I mean, it didn't really work last time out, but they'll bust that out again. So that's great. Man, after that game, he was completely put out with the effort. I mean, you heard it right there. The receivers weren't getting any separation. And what he really wanted to come out and say, and he had to have too much respect for Samford to say it, but he's like, we couldn't get separation against freaking Samford. We're paying these dudes big money on this team compared to Samford, who may or may not even have an NIL program, and our guys can't even get out there and get out of a break and give their quarterback somewhere to throw to. Now, some of that was he's protecting his quarterback. So Dave's not going to come out and go, hey, our quarterback was lousy tonight. But he did. I mean, that moment that made me kind of like, whoa. That moment, and I think it did it to you too, Scotty, when he said something like, some of that looked like the Sawyer from 2 years ago. Whoa, really? Because we're not talking about, I mean, we're talking about some moments, and obviously Sawyer showed some flashes that year, but he also had some really bad moments. He was careless with the football. He made bad reads. He didn't protect the ball. He was bad at times in the red zone. And boy, that felt like to me a coach. And again, I don't know if Dave knows or cares to use the media or use those kinds of news conferences to deliver a message, because he seems like a kind of guy that'll call a player in and just do it man to man. But that was a coach who didn't mind calling out his quarterback after that game. I mean, Sawyer's great. In fact, I would have liked Sawyer to have been in that press conference after a game, because to me, you bring your quarterback out no matter what. Good game, bad game, losses, wins, bring him out. Bring him out. I want to talk to him. Baylor does not have that approach, and that's fine. That's fine. And I don't want to complain too much, because I love what Brent Ingram has done with bringing the two defensive stars and then the two offensive stars. And you get a crack at the defense, then the offense, home and on the road. It was such an improvement over what they were doing before, because before you didn't know who they might choose. And sometimes it was like somebody barely had anything to do with the outcome of the game. So I really do appreciate that. But I want the quarterback out there when he plays poorly, because we can't just bring them out when they throw for 430. Hey, these are big time people. If they're going to go play in the NFL, guess what they're going to have to do? they're going to have to be accountable when they lose a ball game and throw 2 or 3 interceptions. Okay, so I want to have, but now again, and I'll contradict my own argument. It's Samford. I get it. Okay, so I don't want this to be like, oh, Mosley's calling out, but I get it. It's Samford. It's fine to bring out whoever you bring out. But if they have a close, narrow loss to Samford and he plays well or poorly, I do think sometimes quarterbacks got to come out and face the heat. Now, that said, you got a great bounce back opportunity. As I told some of my Baylor people, nobody watched that game the other night. Nobody, or the other, whatever it was, the day game. Nobody watched it. Nobody knows. Did they see the numbers and go, oh, that's weird. He threw 2 interceptions. Yeah. Did it help his Heisman chances? No. Did it hurt him? No, not that much, because he can come out and start stringing together some great games and get on a run. Here's the good news. Arch and Nussmeier and there are quarterbacks who are going the wrong direction out there. Lenora Sellers, injury or no injury, whatever you want to blame it on, going the wrong way. That has allowed John Mateer from OU and Beck from Miami. That's allowed them to come up. And so they're there, but that doesn't mean they have to stay there. I mean, Auburn may go out there and put it on OU. Who's to say Auburn's not good? They look good against the Bears. Jackson Arnold looked great. He may go home to OU and have a tremendous performance. Let's see what happens. That's going to be a fun game to watch. Okay, big time guest at 2:00. Next, we'll do some Campus Confidential.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
Have you ever watched true crime television and wondered, how did they get that story?
I can show you. I was a producer for 48 Hours on CBS News.
In my exclusive tell-all book, I'll take you where no audience has ever gone before. Don't miss out. Secure your copy of Killer Story: The Truth Behind True Crime Television today. Available everywhere books are sold.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but at a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
We haven't been looking for you. Wake up.
Hellhound Country, available anywhere you get your podcasts. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
It is Matt Mosley, the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network. And we do it every day about 1 o'clock. And then we'll take you to 3 o'clock. And today at 2, I mean, this will be fun. We do have someone that has coached at both Baylor and Arizona State. And so it would make total sense to have him on. A beloved member of the Baylor coaching staff from those years that they were under Art Briles, where they were running up wins and running up scores. And so Phil Bennett will be jumping on with us, and we're glad to catch him, Scotty, before Phil has a major neck surgery coming up coming up on Monday. And so he'll be down for the count for a little while, but we'll catch him before he has the surgery, and he's planning on being at the game. So we'll feature some of that for our Green and Gold Game Day show, and we'll have him on today. And so that will be fun. But this is the time of the show. And again, that's coming up at 2 o'clock with Phil Bennett. And then some of the stuff from that will be so good, we'll probably send it out. And we'll have some different things that are out there floating around social media. This is the time of day when Scotty Swingler presents some of his favorite stories in college athletics. It's time for something we call Campus Confidential.
All right, Matt Mosley. Well, I saw it before you texted it to me, but then you saw it and you texted it to me. Baylor, Saturday night, going with the anthracite uniforms, helmets and all. No chrome domes this time. Again, I would like to just call these the blackout uniforms, but anthracite, that dark gray color, what Baylor is rolling out against Arizona State. Now, Matt, my generation loves this. We were begging for black alternates before we got them for the first time. They were our favorite uniforms when we were on campus. How do you feel about the anthracite alternative uniforms for the Baylor Bears?
I would say folks kind of from my generation don't spend as much time really worrying about like what colors they wear to the game or like what the uniforms are like. But I am somebody that like, I get excited when the fans are excited. Like I'm kind of like, I like to see people have a good time and get what they want. And, you know, people they thought that Baylor administration and athletic department was not really listening to them. And so when some of this stuff happens, I think you have to acknowledge it. And so I think that's all a healthy thing. Let me ask you to remind me, though, when they would have those blackouts, were the jerseys actually darker than these, or is this about the exact same color those were?
You know,
For a site, is it
we
pretty
could-
much the same?
We could find a side by side. I feel like these are just a touch lighter. I think the original blackout jerseys were not very good. I don't know if you remember the first ones. I did not love. They were like a true black with the dark green numerals on them. Baylor probably only wore them three times. 2012, I think, was the year. And I did not like those because you couldn't really see the numbers. But then with the next generation of uniforms, when they put the bear claws back on all the shoulder pads, that black uniform, that was also the first one with the chrome helmets. That, I think, was a true black with gold numerals. I think that was a darker color.
Who do you think makes this call? Like, because this doesn't seem like something Dave Aranda would care about at all. The administration has been, they've done a nice job of really trying to do some fun stuff and bringing back the chrome helmets. And I think we've heard Jovan Overshone talk. She was obviously had a big hand in bringing back that. But the week-to-week decision, do you think the players are ever given any input? Like, hey, fellas, what would y'all like to be in for this game? Yeah,
I know in that Bryles era, and I just know this because I was on campus, I think the players did have a pretty big influence on what they were going to wear. I do not know now. I don't know who makes that call. Obviously, some of it's promotional, right? So the Auburn game, they were planning that as a blackout for a long time. So they were going to wear the black uniform, the anthracite uniforms. I don't know who makes that call week to week, though. I don't know if players get a voice in that or not.
All right. We got the great Phil Bennett showing up in just a few minutes. What else do we have, sir? And Campus Confidential.
Story came out today. Of course, everybody knows Kansas State, Iowa State opened the college football season in Dublin, Ireland. Kansas State taking the L and taking home the Irish curse. Looks like they're going to have a rough season the rest of the way. But reports today are Arizona State and Kansas are looking to play the first ever college football game in London next season. Wembley Stadium, September 19th, is what we are looking at. Wembley Stadium, by the way, Mosley, I'm a soccer guy. One of the most legendary venues in the world. Could not say enough good things about Wembley. It is odd to me that we're already doing a college football game in Ireland potentially through 2037, and now we're going to add London. I can kind of understand the NFL trying to expand internationally. I'm a little confused why Big 12 teams want to go play one another. Not even another conference, but like two Big 12 teams flying to London to do this.
This is, your Mark loves to do new things. And the only thing that would make him more excited about this is for Barstool to be on the flight over with the teams. But I guess the thought is, let's create, like I'm sure the NFL believes by playing all these games, they have way more people consuming their stuff, buying their merchandise now. And so I guess the Big 12 would say, maybe we'll capture even more audience. And knowing your Mark, he'll try to maybe have start a school over there, start a football program over there, add a team from Great Britain.
Oh my goodness.
You gotta hand it to him. He thinks outside the box, all that kind of stuff. But I think the only reason Kansas, what I read, I'm sure you saw the same thing. I think the only reason they're willing to give up a home game is because they continue to be under so much construction with their renovation. And so they don't have full capacity. Although, does Kansas really fill their stadium all the time? Is that a team that's always at full capacity?
Listen, Matt, at one point, I remember being at games at Floyd Casey Stadium that had 4,000 to 5,000 Baylor fans in it. So we can rag on Kansas for now, but things can always turn around. They can always
never that few, never 4 to 5.
Sir, definitely.
like
Definitely.
the spring game.
No, late
maybe
'90s,
the end
definitely
of the
that period. Late '90s, it was definitely
not
that.
mine that.
They were giving away tickets and Happy Meals when I was a kid in Waco. They could not. They had to put a tarp over the end zone until I was a junior in college. So we listen. If there's a fan base that can't talk about not filling your stadium, it's Baylor. I'm just going to own it.
I don't think
I'm going to be objective for a second.
I don't think that keeps us from not being able to talk. Even at our worst, we were better than Kansas, except that one year when Mangino had that one really good season. But for the most part, that was the one program we could always turn our nose up to, right? That they were that bad for that long. But they're better now. They are better now. You got to handle that. And I guess they want to go play in London. What else do you have for us, sir?
This is my last story of the day. I wanted to get to this yesterday, but we got talking. I asked you, do you remember the question I asked you to open Campus Confidential yesterday?
Remind me.
I said Harvard or animals, and you picked animals.
Oh, so yeah. And we got into talking about live animals a lot.
So we didn't get to a feature story I found yesterday that I love. This is Katie Patton. Katie Patton is 24 years old. She is the daughter of a journeyman college football coach. He's coached at Oklahoma, Pitt, Indiana, Miami, Ohio. And she is the director of football operations at Harvard. I found a feature story on this on Boston.com. She's also been covered by the Boston Globe. And I am of the opinion it is one of the best stories in sports. I love it. Katie Patton, name to watch.
Man, that's good. I'm sorry I missed that yesterday, and I will monitor that. So thank you for bringing that to my attention as we kind of have like our Ivy League portion of.
Yeah. Well, this story is so good. It's talking about. I mean, she would travel across the country with her dad, stand on the sidelines at football games, and decided I'm going to be part of it. And so, by the way, for anyone at 24 years old to be the director of football operations,
that's pretty awesome.
At any college program is impressive, let alone a woman, let alone, I know Harvard is not exactly a football powerhouse, at least not since like the 1910s, but very, very, very impressive. And I hope we see more of this moving forward.
Where did she go to undergrad, did you say?
I'm forgetting. Hold.
I like to try to stop you.
Michigan State.
Went to Michigan State.
She majored in journalism at Michigan State. She worked in student operations for their football team.
That's pretty cool. And then to give, we talk about having more opportunities, and we've seen it at the NFL with female coaches, and that's still a relatively new area. I would say college football and even high school football are the two areas where you're just not going to see a lot of folks break in at that particular level, but good for her and good for Harvard for opening the door there. And a good story about it. It's like everything you read about Harvard these days is like they're in a fight with the president.
Oh, right.
And all that stuff.
Some positive press here.
Yeah. Harvard's not battling with this is something we can all. My buddies that played football in the Ivy League went to Cornell, and there's always some good jokes. I can't remember if it was maybe it's on The Simpsons. I think the head writer for The Simpsons or director or whatever, Matt, what's his name, went to Cornell, and so there are always jokes on how Cornell they produce the dumbest kids of the Ivy League. There's some good stuff on there. Okay, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna try to put him right up on screen. It is the legendary defensive coordinator, former Baylor great, Phil Bennett, returns to the Mosley Show next.
Real quick, I want to tell everyone about Underdog. By the way, football season's back. In case you haven't noticed, that's why we're having a great time here on the Matt Mosley Show. And Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. And playing on underdog is so easy. Scotty can do it, and I actually do it often. So here's how underdog works. You pick your favorite players, your favorite teams, some players on them, and you pick whether they will higher or lower on particular stats, touchdowns, yards, etc. And if you get your picks right, you could win as much as 5,000 times your money, and you can play on underdog for as little as $1. So I've made picks for the week. This is what I'm playing this week. Here's how it looks for me. I've got Josh Cameron going higher than 55.5 receiving yards in this matchup against Arizona State. He is well over 100 yards the last 2 games. He is Sawyer Robertson's most reliable target. Speaking of Sawyer Robertson, his worst passing touchdown game so far was last week against Samford, and he still had 3 passing touchdowns. So to me, it's an easy higher than 2.5 passing touchdowns against Arizona State. And then a guy who the entire Big 12 needs to keep an eye on, Devin Dampier. He will face Baylor later this season. Of course, Utah and Texas Tech, perhaps the game of the week in college football. I'm saying Dampier has more than 65.5 rushing yards. He's gone over 100 the last 2 games. I think 65.5 is a safe pick. I've got him with higher than 65.5 rushing yards. So if you want to join me on Underdog, download the app. Use the promo code Mosley. And when you play with $5, Underdog will give you $50 in bonus funds just to keep playing. $50 for your 5. I don't know how you beat that deal anywhere in America. Sign up for Underdog, make your picks, win some money.
Plus 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mosley Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
It is the Matt Mosley Show, and so pleased to be joined now. Oh, there he comes. Phil Bennett, just relaxing out by the pool, it appears. Oh, Are you do you ever hop in there, Phil? In that nice? Let me look. Let me put my glasses on and see that. Boy, now that is a good looking area you have out there. That is nice.
One thing we've done, Matt, we made sure we have a very good backyard, outdoor kitchen. We got 4 televisions, so we even have an outdoor air conditioner out here. So we enjoy the time. We live. We got about an acre and a half, so it's comfortable.
Okay, and now you have a lot of Aggies in your life, and you've spent time on that staff and everything. You spent a lot of time in that part of the country. Are they as insufferable as ever following that huge win over Notre Dame?
I think that they're very elated. I think a friend of mine went to the game and he said that a bunch of Notre Dame people said we never had this many other fans come to a game and be this loud. So I think with the finish, the 4th down play to win it, I think they're pretty high right now. Sometimes you've got to slow them down a little bit and realize it's only the 3rd game of the season. But it was a huge win, no question.
Do you kind of pump your fist when you see defensive coaches still getting head coaching jobs? You know how people get enamored with the offensive side of the ball, and it's obviously very, very important. But I'm struck by the fact that even with you, at least taking a break from coaching, I don't know if you'll ever truly be away from it altogether, but you've taken a mentor role. Even this coach that the defensive coordinator for Arizona State, I want to ask you about him, Brian Ward, but how much do you take pride in, Phil, in just watching these young coaches and still having guys that you were on staffs with you, even some of your former players? How much do you find yourself still mentoring and fielding calls from people still in the profession?
Matt, it's funny you ask that. Every Monday, my phone, I'm on the phone for probably 2 or 3 hours with different coaches, even from high school to the NFL, and just talking football. And I do follow all of them. I think coaches, especially today, coaching matters, and good coaches make a difference. You mentioned Brian Ward. Brian Ward and I have been friends for a long time, and I've been through with him through the good and the bad. I think he's a very good coach, very mature. He's had the ride like most coaches, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but he's found his place. He's from the Valley, and he's really done a good job at Arizona State. So I'm anxious to watch him against Baylor's offense, who I think is very well coached on Saturday.
It's so interesting that you've coached at both schools. Your buddy Mike and I were talking today. It would be easier to come up where you haven't coached, right?
I told somebody this, and I mean this. I went to A&M, and I love A&M, but sometimes they could not understand that there are other schools out there that are have all the things they have, but I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of great places, and it's been a blessing. I told somebody one day, I think I've probably coached more than 99% of more places than anybody else in the business.
Now, Dan Campbell, I think was he playing at A&M when you were still coaching there?
I helped. Dan was from Glen Rose, and my late wife was from Alvarado, and we had some ties there when actually I believe it was Tam Hollinshead that recruited Dan. I went up there with him, and just a stud of a guy. I mean, he was from the time he came to A&M, you knew everything what he was about, and you're seeing it now. Everybody in the country's seeing it right now.
Yeah, the only thing that would have told me, I didn't know, I covered him with the Cowboys, and by then you were probably already at SMU, and he had that long hair, that long flowing hair, and I thought, well, I don't know if that plays well at Texas, for a Texas A&M guy. And it's funny because he got away from that in a big way, and now you got to take a lot of pride in that, don't you? To see a guy, I mean, you knew he was a solid guy, but to see him emerge as the top two or three, one of the best coaches in the NFL, that's a pretty amazing story.
That group of guys, Dennis Allen, what was one of them. Dennis Allen, of course, that was in the coaching for a while. That was with the Cowboys. Dan, and then Aaron Glenn. I tell the story. Aaron Glenn signed with us at Purdue, and I had to beg A&M to take him because they didn't want small corners, and he couldn't make the tests at Purdue back in the day. You remember that when you had to have the 800 on the SAT, and then when he did make it, we sent him to Navarro. They didn't take him, but that group of guys, that whole deal. They had all of them. I mean, you got two of them that are head coaches, and you look at Dennis. Dennis gave all those guys their start. He had Dan on the staff. He had Aaron Glenn. Tried to get that, and you knew as players they had the it factor.
Yeah, that's an amazing what you just said. Can you imagine somebody not wanting Aaron Glenn, who then would go on to be one of the best A&M cornerbacks in the history of the school? Man, you've had some. Even I think back on some of the cornerbacks and even the safety play you had at Baylor. I think Xavier and Howard, and then even right up until your time at North Texas with the youngest Tejada, you had a couple of Tejadas with you.
All the Tejadas were great players. TCU, Ranthony at TCU, Riley. We signed at Baylor, did a great job, and then the baby, and that's all I ever called him. He was and it was crazy, Matt. Some kids just willed themselves being in players, and he did that. He was everything he did was full speed.
How big was that for you to land that Arizona State job after the chaos that everybody experienced? And my gosh, you probably talk about that more than you would like, and so we don't have to delve into that. But you have that wild 2016 season. You got an interim coach comes in. You guys finish that up, and then you go to the team Baylor's playing this weekend. You go to Arizona State right after that, and a lot of y'all were able to. You just kept your career rolling, even despite all the controversy and all that happened at Baylor. How important was that for you, kind of later in your career to land that role at Arizona State? And what was that time like in your life?
The first thing, we were all sick. I mean, that's the only word I can use about what happened at Baylor. We were sick about the way it went down. I here at 70 years old, I still feel like that all of us were shamed over something that that did not happen. Now there obviously with Art's situation, but we all got under that deal of being labeled as a whatever you want to call, whatever we were labeled as. I don't even know what you would call it, but I know this. When I went to Arizona State, I had to go talk to the president. I had to get a letter from Baylor. I mean, it was that they definitely did their research, and it was always in the back. People, every article they wrote about me, former Baylor, sexual assault scandal when Bennett was there. Everything had a little preface about it, and I felt, I've said it, and I don't mind saying it. I thought it was handled terribly by Baylor. The people that knew the least had the most say. They turned it over to a group of people in Philadelphia, the Hamilton. That it was a joke. So, but back to what you were saying, I was fortunate, Matt, because I had been coaching a long time. I'd always tried to do things the right way. And I had a friend, Todd Graham, was the head coach there. He went to bat for me. And I believe I'm the only one that first year that got a Power 5 job.
Wow. Yeah. And
I mean,
obviously,
you look at Randy Clements, and I'm so proud of Levy. They went to an NAIA school in Florida. Jim Gush, Chris Acuff went to a junior college, Navarro Junior College, and we were just all tainted by the way it was handled, the process. And there were some very good coaches and very good men on that staff that had to go a long way to recover.
yeah, and you're right. You had friends, and Art certainly, other than the high school job, has never coached again. And we don't want to get into everything that happened, but yeah, it was an awful time for a lot of different reasons. But I tell you, Phil, watching your career and watching you go on, and you brought up the Brian Ward tie to Arizona State. Now, like, walk me through like what, after having gotten to know him, and boy, his time at Washington State, he did some amazing things there. I just happened to, his birthday popped up, by the way. He's exactly one day younger than I am. So he and I were, we're basically the exact same age. But what is his biggest priority? What he's trying to accomplish? Because I mean, takeaways. He had a bunch of defensive touchdowns at Washington State, and obviously that's something you were trying to do at Baylor. But when they line up and they come to Waco on Saturday night, walk me through, what you think is his biggest points of emphasis. This defensive coordinator, who you know so well.
The first thing Brian does, he defends formations. He's going to get his people in a position. Whatever formation you get, he's going to get his people there where he has the right numbers and the right angles. And then the other thing that I think he does really well, and a lot of coaches don't get this, but his guys, he coaches with a tenacity. His guys play relentless. If you watched them last year against Texas, I mean, it's obviously they know the calls, but they play with such a relentless. I think that he is aggressive, but not stupid. He makes an offensive coordinator. They're going to have to defend everything. He'll run a blitz early he'll run 4 weak. He'll run 4 strong. He'll run something in the middle, and he will kick. He has a plan as he goes into the game, what he's going to make you, what he will give you and what he won't. And I think, Brian he was with Dino Babers at Syracuse and did a really good job. And so he has the experience of taking the type of players that he has and making them successful, which I think that's a key. We all have a system, but sometimes your players don't fit your system. You've got to put those players around. It's going to be interesting. You and I talked about earlier, they've got some guys injured in the secondary, and it's going to be interesting to see how he creates those matchups, especially with the way Sawyer and Baylor's throwing the ball around. That's going to be a big test for him.
How hard is it to call plays, be the head coach? I mean, you were head coach for SMU, 2002 to 2007. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw that story. The new regime has shown up at SMU, and they've decided to take out the slogan "Pony Up" because they don't
really?
like. They want to be called Mustangs, and they don't really think of themselves as ponies. Meanwhile, they got a Shetland pony running all over that field. So yeah, they want to do away.
Hey, somebody better tell Damien the history there. The people they get that pony from are one of their biggest benefactors, so they might want to keep that pony.
I'm with you, but the guy who was trying to kill that slogan was David Miller, the money man himself.
Oh, David did, huh?
Board, and David got up at some deal last Friday night and said, he said "Pony Up," which all those SMU people, right around the time your time ended there, like 2007, that became their big slogan. And everybody has embraced that. And he stood up at a thing recently and said, "We're going to let Pony Up die a natural death." And oh my gosh, he has gotten so much blowback. But you know how it is. You get a new AD, you get a new administration, and they want to do their own thing. And they're like, "Well, we don't like this Pony Up thing." And boy,
I know this, Matt.
Yeah.
If there's one guy that can get away with it at SMU, it's David Miller.
Because he ponies up the money, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay, walk me through this real quick, Phil. Why Baylor's been bad against the run? In fact, one of the worst teams right now. And a lot of it's that Auburn game. They got crushed, and they got beat on the quarterback. And it was a read.
It's called a power read.
That power read, and he was it was delayed, and Dave gave some explanation. He was doing it when we didn't think he was going to do it. Well, that's football, right? You're supposed to try to go against trends and all that kind of stuff. But this Levitt is a scary dude because he can throw it, but he's even, as you know, faster than Jackson Arnold.
He's more athletic than Jackson.
Yeah. What do you, as you kind of get ready and you'll be watching this game, and I don't know which side you're rooting for. I hope it's Baylor, but I'm not going to make you say, because you like this defensive coordinator a lot. He's a great friend of yours. But what does Baylor have to do to account for him? Is it as easy as we've got to spy him the whole time? How as a defense, when you go up against a guy this athletic, what do you have to do to account for him down after down?
The first thing is, in the run game, when he's running the power read, he's going to be reading the end man on the line. If the end man closes to him, he's going to give the ball. You have the option of who you want to. You can make the quarterback give the ball. If you remember in the Auburn game, we were always upfield with our ends. Jackson Arnold saw the end was going to the jet motion, or the running back, and then he followed. And then we lost our fit with our linebackers. And you can make them give the ball and make the ball go east and west. That's something I always thought about with a power read. If I had a quarterback, I wanted to take the ball away from him, I crashed the end to the quarterback and then let our pursuit go to the ball. Now, what's different is scrambling, third down. Where Levitt, if you remember the Texas game, he willed them a chance to win on scrambles. I would think, and Jackson also scrambled in that game, as we know. And Baylor was very close on their line movements. They were doing twists, which I thought were good, but they missed the tackles. I don't know if you watched Baker Mayfield on Monday night.
Yeah.
But he didn't play great all game. And then at the end of the game, the last drive, the Texans went to two-man. That's man underneath with two high. Well, what happens is when the back scat and you've got 5 blocking 4, the quarterback's scramble is deadly. And it won the game for him. I would think somehow Dave would be able to, when on passing downs, and I'm not going to call it a spy. I used to call it a tracer. You're going to do your drop, but you're going to be second level, knowing that if the count goes 1,001, 1,002, ball's not thrown, you're coming down. You're going for you're looking for the scramble. Incorporate your games. Use your line twist, because I think what it does, if you let somebody scramble, you want it to be an east and west scramble. Jackson was getting north and south. I mean, that kills you so fast, especially when your backers are deep, whether they're playing man or zone. I mean, it's a gimme. So I would think that's been a big work for the Bears this week.
Who was your best tracer at Baylor?
You know, a guy Eddie Lackey could come. We used to call it add-in coverage. Eddie Lackey had the ability. He would drop off, say he was a will linebacker. He dropped off number 2. If 2 blocked, he would drop, and then he would add in. And I can't tell you how many sacks he got by just adding in. And it's not a blitz, but it's sort of a read blitz. The other guy that was really good was Bryce Hager. You know, Bryce could do it. Taylor Young was a great pass rusher. You know, and I like guys on passing downs. I take my nose guard and maybe even my 3 technique out. I want more athletes in the game. That if you're running a game, that there's probably as fast as Levitt or Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, man, you bring back some memories, and people remember. I think Taylor might have gotten a hit on Baker one year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Put
he
one
did.
on him.
And you know one of the things you asked me, it's really I'm looking forward to this game, because I think it's 2 really good teams trying to get better. It's a big game for both, and I'm anxious to watch the strategy of how they attack each other and how they create the matchups. You know, it never changes, Matt. The coach that's able to create the best matchups will win the game.
It might surprise people to know that you and Dave Aranda have crossed paths. I know some people think, well, you know, maybe Phil doesn't want anything to do with Baylor anymore, and that's not true, because you have a tremendous amount of friends still at Baylor. But
I love Baylor. It was a great experience.
Have you and Dave gotten to talk over the years or compare notes a little bit?
You know, it's funny. We talked about it. I got invited to go to one of the practices in spring, and I went to the practice, and all the guys were talking about it. He said Dave was telling the story when he was at Hawaii that they were playing Navy, and when I took the pit job after getting let go at SMU, Dave Wanstead flat out told me. He said, "I'm just going to tell you something." He said, "If we don't beat Navy, we're not going to have a job." He said they beat us last year. I think they scored 60 points. It was crazy, and so we go out there and we play, because I played for Emory Ballard, who invented the wishbone, and so we played, we won, and Dave called me, and Navy was going to Hawaii, and it was a huge game, because you know all the naval bases in Hawaii, and there was going to be a sellout. Dave was the defensive coordinator at Hawaii. And lo and behold, we talked about how I defended them, this and that. And I'll never forget this. I stayed up, of course, Pittsburgh's on Eastern time, and I watched the whole Hawaii Navy game. And Dave sort of simulated our attack, and it was a huge win for Hawaii. And we sort of bonded over that. It was a lot of fun. And we were laughing about it when I was there this spring.
Wow, man, that's very cool. And Emory Ballard, I mean, you talk about, you know, when they do all these things on the run and shoot and these legendary, where did the wishbone come from? And I think there's something that even has come out recently. I mean, he needs to be at the forefront of some of those. I mean, as far as an innovative offensive coach,
he was
unbelievable.
He was a genius. You know, he was along the lines of Bill Walsh on offense. He understood numbers and angles, and he created those. And it takes teams like Navy and Army, and what it does, it makes defenses think instead of react. And it is an evener, no question.
Okay, so because I ran into, I'm buddies with Brad Dusick's son,
Oh
Bucky
yeah,
Dusick,
Bucky, huh?
and so Brad, I guess, got moved to fullback Emory his
Yes,
senior year
yes,
at
he
A&M.
did.
Yeah, and of course he went on to play for the Redskins for those years and played on the defensive side. But man, those are amazing stories and amazing players. Well, listen, and we wish you the best. I know you've got a surgery coming up, and I broke my neck in a cycling accident several years ago, so I have sympathy pains for you. I
Well,
had the C1 and C2 fused, and now I play tennis and I do everything, and I know you're extremely active, so
yeah.
you probably need to do this to be able to do all the things you want to do. But
Well, I'm
man,
I'm looking forward to getting back. I'm doing it on Monday, and so you know, I told somebody the other day that I'm not sure about these golden years they talk about. You know, too many surgeries involved. Too many things breaking down.
yeah, I hear you. Well, I've heard from all kinds of people today when I told them I was doing this. The Watsons and the Hall family, of course, the Palmer family out of Marshall, and
Love them.
that's a whole nother offshoot right there. But the Marshall Mavs, and then years later, I went to school with all those guys that had played for Dennis Parker, and they just won a state title.
Oh yeah.
You thought some guys that showed up thinking they knew some stuff. Those kids, those boys
Well,
from Marshall.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you something. The Palmers, of course, you know, fun thing. When I was in high school, Pinky had moved there to go to work, and Pinky was a big influence on me because he was, you know, he had been at Baylor, been a good player, and he told me, I'll never forget. He told me, he goes, "You got to work harder. You got to work harder if you're gonna play in college." And at the time, I'm thinking, what? Well, now. I mean, and when I knew exactly what he was talking about. My brothers dated Pinky's wife. One of my brothers that was the head coach at Irvin dated Becky, and my brother Jerry, who passed away this spring, dated Amanda. So we were dear friends and loved the Halls and the Palmers.
Well, Pinky is now in the Baylor Football Hall of Fame, where he should be, and nobody ran harder, and that team didn't win a whole lot, but my goodness, was he a player?
Yes, he was a player.
Back then, if you ran for about 800 yards, that meant something, right?
Oh yeah,
especially with what Baylor was putting out there at the time. But although John Bridgers actually had some great years at Baylor, but hey, Phil, thank you, man. I hope we
Thank
get to
you,
see
Matt.
each other. You never know. I may show up at La Fiesta, wherever you're going to be. I may show up looking for you.
Well, I'd love to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right.
Doing
Thank
this.
you.
You bet. There he goes. Phil Bennett from his casita there, it looked like, right out back by the pool. And man, that is it is. But you know, I brought that up with Dave Aranda because I do think people think, because of the whole way the whole Bryles thing went down, that all those guys are at odds and hate Baylor now. And boy, he does not. He actually loves Baylor. Will be at the game, and that's so interesting that Dave Aranda actually invited him to a spring practice. I had heard that. I didn't know if Phil had talked about that much, but that's it's interesting. And I think, Scotty, I should say, and I started to kind of check him, and I thought, I don't want to get into all that. I just want to say on this show's behalf, I think when he talks about, there's obviously some bitterness on how things ended and how that was handled by Baylor. I get all that. When he says nothing happened, he's not talking about, and I don't want to speak for him, but obviously a lot of awful things happened at Baylor, and there were players in that program that were involved with things. So to somehow deny that there weren't some bad things going on within the program, you can't do that. What Phil's referring to is there became such a awful back and forth between the board at the time and the coaches that I think he and others felt completely vilified and felt tainted by everything that had happened, almost as if they had done some of these horrible things. And so anyway, I think I can't let that go without saying, man, there were a lot of awful things. And the worst thing is not what happened to those coaches or not even what happened to Art. It was, of course, what happened to the victims in those cases in the scandal. And that's where, I just think that needs to be said because as he said that, my thought was, Scotty, I didn't want to get into all that. So I kind of tried to move us back on safer ground a little bit, but I would be remiss if I didn't say those things. Okay. Very, very interesting and wonderful to catch up with Phil. And he's got so many thoughts on so many different topics there, including the style of defense that they're going to play at Arizona State, his thoughts on Dave Aranda, his thoughts on how to stop the quarterback. Wasn't that interesting? How to stop the quarterback run. Very, very interesting things that we covered there. All right, got a few more things to cover. In fact, Matt Eberflus going back to Chicago. He sounded off on that today. I want to react to some of that. That is next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge.
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's golfpartnerusa.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open-source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
And excited to be with you. I thought that was, Scotty, I thought that was like some really interesting stuff from Phil Bennett, who was out by his pool. He lives in the College Station area, maybe there, coached there. But I mean, just he's coached at so many places, but all the things that he crossed paths. Remember Emery Billard, the legend. Phil would have, I guess, coached there or played there right around the time. So he played for Emery Billard. But I mean, the places he's coached, he was a head coach at SMU, had a great run as defense coordinator at A&M. Then he went to Pittsburgh after the SMU thing. And then, of course, he came to Baylor. And I mean, I mean, you know, he and that was one of the cool things about he and Art. Is that I know it drove Baylor fans nuts that they gave up huge amounts of yards and touchdowns, and it drove Phil nuts. But like Art, they had this interesting relationship where Art, and there were a couple of games, one of them, they did a really good job against UT in the final game at the Case. And the week before, Art thought he called a really bad game, talking about himself. Art thought he called a bad offensive game, and that Phil bailed him out in that game. And Art, I think when Phil would say, man, I'm sorry, I'm whatever, Art would always, and apparently Art in speaking engagements would bring up how he never viewed it as Phil wasn't getting enough stops or Phil was giving up too many yards. Like he thought Phil was like the perfect defensive coordinator for him. And I'm sure it bugged Phil that Art kept going for it on his own 40 and all that kind of stuff. But he finally embraced something that most defensive coordinators can't embrace. He finally embraced that if he could get 2 or 3 stops a half, that was enough. That was enough. And instead of looking at it as oh my gosh, we gave up that many yards or that many points. He learned to realize, hey, we're playing way more snaps than most teams because of the high tempo and because of how many plays they were trying to run. And the truth is, if your offense gets 20 more cracks at it than most teams, you're going to put up a ton more points. You're going to throw for a lot more touchdowns. And that was what was happening back there. Now, this is a different Baylor. This is a Baylor that likes to put points on the board and likes to throw. I wouldn't mind seeing some more tempo from this Baylor team. I think we may have actually seen it in that SMU game, part of it out of necessity because they were having to go later in games. But even earlier in that game, I think they tried to get some tempo. I just think teams' offenses sometimes flow better that way. Now, if you substitute, of course, the other teams can run people in. What Art and them used to do, and even on defense, what Bennett tried to do would not substitute, so not allow the offense to substitute. It was a very interesting cat and mouse game back then. But man, that was fun. That was fun right there to catch up on some of that with the great Phil Bennett, who always fun to catch up on. He'll be there for that Arizona State Baylor game. Now, just to share with you a little bit on what Eberflus, and tomorrow we might actually play some of this for you, but I am getting the Cowboys injury report, and right now, let's see, during the portion open to reporters earlier today, Turpin with that neck, Guyton with his shoulder, and Trayvon Diggs, who's had an illness, were all practicing during the portion open to reporters. We'll get you the report later today, but cornerback Deron Bland was not in attendance with that foot. They didn't see Bland out there, so that's something to keep our eye on. And then Dak Prescott and Javonte Williams, I'm looking at them in today's practice. So, most people are out there, but we'll kind of keep you updated on the injury list for the Cowboys. And I did want to tell you, Eberflus talked to the media today. Obviously, he was going to be asked about his return to Chicago. It did not end well. And then on top of that, Caleb Williams and his dad put out all this stuff about Eberflus and about the coaching and about the fact he didn't have people watching film with him. And they really tried to make Eberflus look bad. Now, Eberflus made himself look bad last Sunday with the way the secondary played. Here's something from that. On what he learned from his time in Chicago. A lot of things, he said. The biggest thing is you got to be able to communicate well and do a good job there with everybody that's working. I don't know. I don't know if he's saying he didn't communicate well or there were breakdowns. I read that to be that throughout the organization, there were some breakdowns, and he ended up being the one to pay for that. And let's not forget that they had that horrific ending to a game where a team was able to hit on a Hail Mary against them because of Chicago, in part because a Chicago Bears player who was supposed to be covering on that play was in another part of the end zone dancing around and taunting the crowd. All right. That was another, when you have moments like that, you know a coaching career is about to come to an end. He was also asked what he learned from his time in Chicago, what he thinks the reaction will be like Sunday. And his answer was, I haven't thought about it. Not buying it. Not buying it. Haven't thought about it. Give me a break. So anyway, it's good to have this StreamYard, by the way. Scotty's having some computer issues. And so right now he can't hop on with me. Always love having Scotty, but this is another look. A lot of times I go with the sunglasses, but then when I'm really in a pensive sort of reflective mood, I'll peer over the regular glasses. This is what I used to do it during Parcells, Bill Parcells' news conferences, which led him to ask the Cowboys PR guy, Rich Dalrymple, what I was doing and why I was always looking over my glasses back in the day. Let's see. We do have some. We've got a couple things going on that I wanted to catch you up on in the world of sports. And man, some of these things I do not like. Some of these arrests and all. Let's look at one good. I had to bring this up because, well, we have to say goodbye to the 2025 Texas Rangers. And oh, did they fight last night. They had DeGrom on the mound. That should have been a good thing. 36 pitches or 35 pitches in the first inning. Gave up 2 runs. They fought back, bottom of the first. You know, they got back and they got the game to 2-2, but they end up losing 5-2. They get swept by the evil Astros. The silver boot is gone. The silver boot is no longer. They lost the silver boot. They tied for it, I think, in 2020, but they haven't won a silver boot, and then that's the thing they do with the Astros throughout the season series since 2015. Oh my gosh. Really? 10 years, been a decade. How embarrassing. Your main rival. Now, again, it makes it a little bit better because in 2023, they beat those Astros in the ALCS and won the World Series that year. So I would trade all the silver boots in the world for that World Series, okay? Or I wouldn't trade that World Series for all the silver boots, however you want to phrase that. So that was but this is a bad way to end the season. These rookies fought their rears off. I mean, they did. Cody Freeman and Osuna and everybody, and then the more veteran players like Josh Young and Wyatt Langford, they fought and they fought and they fought. And they finally ran out of juice. And that they did it against these Astros, I hate it. I hate it. But now there are only 9 games to play. The gig's up. They got too many people in front of them. Even if they won all 9, nobody's going to lose enough for them to jump back in and catch anybody. So I've tried to say goodbye to the Rangers a few times this season. This time it is with heavy hearts that we actually bid them farewell. And this is goodbye to the Texas Rangers. There also another baseball story that's just hitting is that Verlander's saying, golly, team record 16 starts this season with the Giants before registering a win, has fixed whatever is working, is riding a hot streak now, and he wants to return. After he returns in 43 in February for a 21st Major League Baseball season. He said, I hope somebody would offer me a contract now, Verlander told USA Today. Isn't that amazing? 3-time Cy Young Award winner at age 43. Why not? Why not? So anyway, and then I was looking at this story, Major League Baseball, the biggest success and failures for every team across the league. All right. And obviously with the Mariners, it would be Cal Raleigh, who I didn't look to see. Scotty may have looked, but he got the 55th and 56 home runs. 55 put him past Mickey Mantle as the most ever for a switch hitter. And then 56 tied him for the Mariners all-time record with Junior, with the kid, with Ken Griffey Jr. So that was pretty incredible. The biggest, I was going to look and see who the biggest success for the Red Sox, by the way, the biggest success, they said pitching acquisitions, the biggest failure in roster work, some of the in roster work they did. And then let's look down here and see. Nobody cares about the Rockies. For the Tigers, who had an incredible year this year, the biggest success, Tarek Skubal, and the biggest failure, the rotation depth. If this bites the Tigers in the postseason, there will be questions about why Detroit didn't take a bigger swing at the trade deadline. And then the Astros' biggest success, front office improvisation. The biggest failure, Christian Walker. All right. And obviously, Yordan Alvarez's long stay on the IL played a role in this. It's kind of rude to make it just about Christian Walker, but I guess he did struggle. So it says Walker is barely over replacement level on the season. There you go. And I wanted to get down here and see, if I could, what they ended up saying about the Texas Rangers. And the biggest success, the biggest failure, home offense. Rangers have just a 676 OPS at Globe Life Field, while they're 724 on the road. Well, I mean, okay, it's not the biggest mystery in the world. Jock Peterson was horrific this season with a 559 OPS at home. So let's not get out here over our skis too much and go, well, they're just horrible at home. Well, Peterson crushed them. And some of the other players, let's not act like they all were hitting, but that was embarrassing. Berger was hit or miss, mostly missed down the stretch. That was a mess. Completely. Man, it is the Matt Mosley Show. We do it every single day. We got a big show planned for tomorrow. You never know who will stop by. We got the Green and Gold Game Day show coming up. And let's talk about the landing. Let's talk about the Brazos Landing. We'll be there for a game. We'll be there for a live show the Thursday before the K-State game. I believe K-State game is on October 4th, so that would be October 2nd. That'll be great. That'll be incredible. And it is wonderful to get back out there. I love everything about it. I love being out by the river. I want to set up out there. I want to get some of that. Will fake fall possibly be over? And we'll celebrate the Lindsay family, some of their success recently, some medical stuff going on, but they've done an incredible job fighting that. And boy, you'll have to come at more. If you want to get Becky Lindsay, you'll have to bring more than what you've brought, because she is a remarkable person and a great friend. So we appreciate the Brazos Landing, and we appreciate the presenting sponsor, Central National Bank. We appreciate Scotty Swingler and Phil Bennett, everybody who's been a part of this one, Corey Dickman, the whole gang over there at Rogue Media Network. I am Matt Mosley. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock straight up. Good.